Taylor,
I don't have one.
Taylor, we both watched that Midsommar movie. I don't have.
Oh yeah.
We both watched that Midsommar movie. Would you recommend, before we talk about it a little bit, would you recommend Midsommar to someone to watch?
Not to my worst enemy.
So it's made by Ari Aster, I believe, who's also the maker of Hereditary,
yeah.
Hereditary, which I love. That's the one with the little girl and the demonic possession and the devil cult and lots.
I think it's your favorite kind of horror.
I like that movie a lot. It's hard to find other movies in its class. There's only like 10 good horror movies. Period.
The Conjurer. That's why
The Conjuring
is good.
The first one is pretty good. Yeah.
The Thing is excellent. The Thing is probably my favorite horror movie ever.
Yeah, me too.
What year did that come out?
70s,
roughly.
80s.
I thought it was 80s. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Old one. Because there's a new one, I think.
It's a John Carpenter movie. It's really good.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Kurt Russell. But Midsommar, I went into with pretty high expectations. I knew all about it, but and again, it's like weird that we watched them the same night. But I was like, let's watch this. We've been watching spooky movies. I know this is a well-made one. I know what it's about. I kind of know the gist of it. And I kind of went into it not thinking I was going to like it. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
It sucked, dude.
And it's so well reviewed. It's Rotten Tomatoes is outstanding. All the reviews are outstanding. It's about it starts off and like this girlfriend, this guy's about to break up with his girlfriend, but her family all suicide themselves. Like her sister kills herself and her mother and father. And so she has a nervous breakdown and he can't break up with her. And he's just about to go on this like sick vacation with his college buddies to Sweden because one of them's doing a research paper about this Swedish community that's all isolated and stuff. And she just tags along, even though she's having this meltdown. I don't know, man. The whole time they're taking hallucinogens. I think your biggest complaint is once they get to Sweden and they get into cult land, they just hang around for way too long after it gets scary, right?
It's called Midsommar, Midsommar, Woody.
Okay.
Midsommar. Yeah. It's and that's the name of the like Swedish tradition that they're there to observe. And it's yeah, Kyle, I totally agree. It was a dog shit movie. They failed in making it. There was no point that I was even unsettled.
No,
like even the points that were supposed to be of like, I'm going to spoil it to save people time. They go to this. Don't give them warnings, Zach. They don't deserve it. Fuck them. And so they go, like Kyle said, there's this one dude in their group who's like, I'm going to write a super definitely necessary paper on this like made up Swedish tradition where they dance around and they're all wearing white dresses. And it's they're so north in Sweden that it's like perpetual daylight. It's in that Arctic Circle kind of area.
Can I interrupt?
So that was supposed to be an interesting part of it. Like that reviews said was good. Is they were like, it creates this scary atmosphere and all of it in the bright sunlight of northern Sweden. And it's like,
can I describe what their religion is real quick? Like,
yes.
So it's this closed off sect of Swedish people who live in their own isolated community.
Like
pagans. And they're doing lots of hallucinogens. Everybody's drinking like dandelion tea or some shit. And they're all getting fucked up. And they're so high in
that's a thing.
Close enough to they're getting so close to the Arctic. It's like a mixture of things. Like you can tell they're like mortar and pestle, mixing lots of herbs, all sorts of hallucinogenic herbs, and everybody's getting fucked up on this tea. And the sun almost never sets, so it's always so bright when all this wacky shit is going on. The religion that they ascribe to, finally, you get to the bottom of it. The guy's looking at their holy book, and he's like, "Yes, this is our holy book. It is a continuing tale as our the writer of the book, the scribe, writes even now. Here are the latest pages that have been written in our holy book." And it's all like smeared coloring, like paint. And then and he's like, well, who's fucking writing this down? And then who's interpreting it? And he's like, oh, there's our scribe now. And they point out the most deformed, retarded child you've ever seen in your life. They had shown him earlier, but had given no explanation. And you're like, oh, I remember that fuck. And they'd be like, through a series of extreme inbreeding, we create this imbecile who colors in the book, and then we interpret the coloring into our religion.
He doesn't even look just like a normal guy who's retarded. They have like fake prosthetics on him to make him look ugly, and like the kind of prosthetics where it's like they laid it on top of an existing face very haphazardly. It's beyond obvious. He's like their pope.
I thought the prosthetics were good. He's a mutant though.
Yeah, he's like their pope. He's their dope.
The effects are good. I disagree with you there. The gory effects throughout the movie were very good, and later on they give one guy a blood eagle, which is when you cut out their lungs in the back and like suspend them with hooks, and when they breathe, they're still inflating back. They do this to you alive. Like there was a blood eagle that looked pretty legit. That stuff I was down with, and I wanted more of that mutant boy. I needed so much more of him. And
more of that retard.
Yes, dude, he was so awful looking. But he would color in a book, and they'd interpret his, and I mean badly. I mean like he'd smear pink, yellow, and green together, and they'd go, yes, it says here, in the days of old, every Swedish man gave unto them 3/5 of his monies. Like, no, that is not what that color swatch says. Yeah. That's nonsense.
They're like doing Joseph Smith readings from the gold plates. Like they're just making shit up that there's retard colors on.
Yeah, there were some crazy scenes, and there was some unsettling stuff, and just the idea of it was unsettling. But I needed them to leave. There was this scene finally. Yeah. There's one black guy in the group, by the way, and he, of course, is the first one. See, that's another one of those stereotypes that Hollywood and the media have done. You probably haven't noticed this. Black guys in movies now, they're the ones who are smarter than everybody else, and are the first ones to see that like something's wrong here. All the white people are all like, nah, come on, they're just different here. And he's sleeping with his sneakers on. Like he goes to bed, he's got his shoes on, and got them tied, and it's like, dude's ready to bounce.
Scared enough to sleep in shoes, not scared enough to like leave.
When I saw that, I told my girlfriend, I was like, look, I'm not fast. I could start jogging right there, and I'd be 20 miles away the next day. Like when the sun came up, I'd be 20 fucking miles away. I can jog 20 miles with a jug of water if it's my life or death in a few hours. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like we'll
Dude, I was watching that movie indignantly by the end, where I was like, show me what's next, you fucking crook, tricking me into watching this horseshit movie. There's no incentive. Like literally what they do is, like, I think day 2 of them being there, not even a slow enough burn, the guy who invited them is like, oh, hey, would everyone like to come see part of our beautiful culture? And even he's asking it in a way that's like sinister almost. And they're like, we'd love to see your cool culture.
No, they ask him, they're like, do you want to see the edestup? And the black guy's like, is this like a real edestup? And he's like, oh, don't spoil the fun. Yes, we will see. And like, and an edestup for the uninitiated is when the elders, those who are like too old, and this is a real thing, jump to their deaths, to kill themselves so that, they're not a burden on the community.
Yeah.
Dude, right away, they have an edestup, and this old lady jumps off this cliff, and all of our main characters and the cult are at the bottom. And the old lady, she must have, I know she hasn't done it before, but she's seen it done before, because she landed face first onto a small boulder at the bottom.
Yeah,
and her head explodes. Her whole face explodes off of her head, and it's gruesome. And everybody starts losing their shit. And then the old man steps up. He'd never seen this done, never heard of this done. He jumps foot first, like he's doing his like a jackknife type thing. Like when you jump in the pool feet first and you try not to make a splash and like slide in.
He did a bad job killing himself.
He did that, and his legs are all splayed backwards and bent crazy, and he's laying on the ground going.
Like they beat him to death with a hammer. They have a ceremonial wooden hammer that they're handing off.
They had a croquet mallet that looked like it came out of Donkey Kong, dude. They're like, look at that guy, give him the nod, and he comes over and goes, "Funk!" Right up.
It is the most.
Did he one-shot kill him?
He hit him like 3 times, but by the end, it was just like smushing teeth and bones. It seemed a little overkill to me.
It was really poorly.
But Taylor's point is like that happens, and then they don't leave. They stay. And I'd have been gone so quick, dude.
Oh, I would. Like, first of all, the one guy who was like, "You people are sick. You people are fucking sick." As they're all watching, I'm like, "Bat, you're gonna die, like idiot." I would have been like, "Dude, guys, wild party. I gotta go. I feel a little goofy off that tea.
Working in the morning.
Work. Fuck. Kill me. Right? Like,
don't kill me.
Don't kill me. I'll do it to myself. And so they basically have all these ceremonies, each one more overtly sinister than the last. Like there's no big like reveal after the suicide pact that it's gonna get better, and they still hang out. They watch these people kill themselves. The guy before they watched them kill, the main Swede guy who invited them there to do the all of the things.
They're the only outsiders, by the way.
There's only like 5 outsiders there, and they're all retarded. And they asked him, they're like, so like, how do you guys segment your lives up or whatever? And he's like, well, here, ages of 0 to 18 is your spring, and then 18 to 36 is your summer, and then and then it goes on and goes through, and then he's like, and then from 52 to 72, is your winter of your life, or whatever it gets to. And they're like, and what happens after 72? This is 40 minutes into getting there, by the way. And he looks at him and he goes, does like a slitting throat motion at them, and they're like, oh, how crazy, like how silly.
Given what they do with the old people, I was trying to make 72 fall, right? Like because you fall.
Yeah.
They should have done like, now the one just fall.
There's a moment near the end, obviously, where there's maybe 4 characters left, 4 or 5, and it's like, guys, clearly things are like coming to a head here. This is the point where you just sneak away when no one's looking and start jogging toward wherever civilization is. Yeah. Again, like that's my thing with every single horror movie. I've been watching the Friday the 13th movies like one after another this week. I got to 5 before I quit. And every one of them, I'm like, start jogging right now, you'll be good in 3 hours. Like you start jogging right now, 3 hours from now, you're eating Shoney's saying, God, that was crazy, huh?
That was wild. Yeah, any Tizers for all. I'm celebrating. Like, did you notice that at no point after that initial like killing field shit they were demonstrating, like there were no guards, there was no one forcing them to stay there. There was at any point they could have
almost no men that you couldn't beat up easily. There's almost no men there that you don't think I've just pushed that guy down. Like there's a lot of old guys. There's a lot of like really weak and skinny guys. Like there's only a couple
of big Viking looking guys, but for the most part, you're right. They're not a strong looking group.
Lots of women, lots of children, and it's like an agrarian society where like, man, if I go over there and just tell everybody I'm going to take a shit in the woods or something, they won't know I'm gone for hours, and I can be so far from here. I wanted to leave so bad.
Oh, and do you remember the scene where this, like that same shithead who was like, you're all sick. This was like, I think it was before that. And there was just some random bullshit tree that was knocked down in the middle of their living space.
It's where they put their dead's ashes.
Yeah, they put their dead's ashes on this rotted bullshit tree. And this, like one of the people from America was like pissing on this tree, which as soon as I noticed it, I'm like this tree isn't in the middle of the woods. Like he is in the middle of their little living space pissing on something. So kind of rude there, but he's just pissing on a dead, like laid down tree, not even erect, just laid down. And immediately some Swedish guy's like, he's pissing on our sacred dead tree. Let me at him. I will kill him for pissing on the tree. You will rue the day that you piss on my tree.
That guy had such a meltdown. He wasn't even mad. He was devastated.
Yeah, he didn't. And then that guy didn't.
He's like, he's pissing on my ancestors. And then, like you said, that if I'm that guy, I'm like, guys, they're going to have it out for me after pissing on the ancestors. I gotta get out of here. Now, look, don't say anything. I'm gonna run as fast as I can.
Yeah, dude, there's 20 minutes from here. I'm gonna sprint there. I'm gonna stop briefly, eat some meatballs, regain my strength, and then I'm gonna continue to flee.
And by the end, like one guy gets blood eagled. They've got the black. They turn them all into like scarecrows with their skin or something. The black guy's leg is like
blood eagled.
That's where they cut your lungs out from the back and suspend them in the air. So when you breathe, they inflate like wings while you're still alive.
It's not a real thing.
It is real.
I like Kyle mentions blood eagled. Like me and the audience are all supposed to know this.
Oh, I explained it earlier, but also it's a Viking thing. I highly recommend the TV show Vikings.
I think it's a myth.
It's not a myth.
I saw some myth busted thing.
Put your money where your mouth is.
No. I think maybe you're misunderstanding, or I'm not expressing it right. You can't do that to a living person. Like they will die long before you get them in this weird ritual.
I don't believe so. I believe you can take the lungs right out the back. They'll inflate. They'll be able to do a blood eagle just fine. I've done many a blood eagle. I do them all the time. You know.
What do the polls say?
Can't trust the polls. Go with me on this one.
Yeah, they blood eagle the one guy.
And Seltzer, heck you.
Fucking and Seltzer.
I think they just cut the black guy's throat mercifully, but then like at the end, they turn the blonde girl into the May Queen. She just wins basically. She becomes the May Queen and has a nervous breakdown. But her boyfriend, first you think things are going pretty well because he gets to fuck this cute redheaded chick who's a virgin and put his seed into her so that she can bear his child. But then they paralyze him with some sort of weird drug and sew his body inside the body of a just killed bear. They gut a bear and stuff him inside the giant bear. The bear's been there the whole time, by the way. I forgot about that. I laughed out loud when this happened, Woody. We're 20 minutes into this movie and we just got to Swedish Weirdville and they're walking around the Americans and like, this is where we play and this is where we'll eat later. And what is that? That is a bear. Come with me. And it's like, they just ignore it. The bear's in a cage all by itself. No one ever asked about the bear again. Well, they stuff homeboy in the bear and they burn him alive in a barn.
Like, what's that bear for? Oh, just fooling around.
It was such a waste of like whatever.
It was like 2+ hours of movie. It was dog shit.
Movies are too long.
I horror.
I used to see a 2-hour movie and think like, ooh, I'm excited. I'm getting a little more for my money. I'm going to watch 2 hours of Spider-Man or something. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, knock it off. You take too long to tell your stupid story. Deadpool ruined long movies for me. That shit had 45 minutes of fat in it.
Yeah, I just wasn't scared by the movie. I didn't think it was good, and I hated all the goddamn characters. So I guess it's a bad movie by those measures.
Yeah, it was a terrible movie. I wouldn't recommend anyone watch Midsommar. It wasn't even vaguely scary. The story structure doesn't make sense. They didn't properly flesh out an incentive for. You
know what's a better movie that's kind of similar
to like the only thing that's keeping these 5 people there is the one dude wants to write a research paper on them. There's no draw for any other character to want to be here. If I go to Sweden on vacation, I'm not hanging out with my dumb friend in grad school who's writing some useless paper. I'm going to ski. I'm going to do something fun in Sweden.